Hello students, how are you all? Let's start chapter 1 of class 11. Name of the chapter is Business, Trade and Commerce. Human activities can be divided into two parts: economic activity and non-economic activities. Economic activities are carried out by humans for earning livelihood. They are just basically money based activities. And non economic activities are carried out by human beings out of sympathy, love, any other psychological factor, or charity. Economic activities are categorized into three parts: business, profession, occupation, or employment. So, now let's discuss these three activities one by one. Let's start with business first. What is business? Business, it is an occupation in which people regularly engage in activities relating to purchase, production and sale of goods and services with a view to earn profit. Now let's discuss this in detail. First of all, business is an occupation. Means if somebody is carrying out any business, it is his principal work. He carries out it usually, and he is engaged in regularly doing that work. Also, he is buying, purchasing, and producing and selling the goods and services regular basis. And the main motive of carrying out the business is to earn profit, not for charity. He is selling and buying goods and services, purchasing goods and services, producing new goods and services just to earn profit margin. That is why it is called business, which is a money based activity, which is an economic activity. In this chapter, we will discuss about characteristics of business activities. First, it should be an economic activity, means profit related activity, otherwise it will not be considered as economic activity. For the first priority of a business activity is that it should be related to earning profit, or it should be carried out of earning profit or money based activity. It should not be based on charity. Second thing is, the next characteristics how you can identify an activity as a business activity is that production and procurement of goods and services to sell. It means either you produce it or purchase it and then sell it. You are producing any product, or you are just procuring it from somewhere and adding some value to it and then selling it somewhere. For example, if you are procuring it, means I can give you an example, like you are procuring flour from the flour mill, and then you are making it into a bread, converting into a bread, then you are adding value to the flour. So, and you, the value of flour which was rupees 5 earlier, for example, now has become rupees 10. So you are adding value and then selling it. So that work is also considered as business, because you have now added value also, and also your profit margin you have also added to the value of the floor, and then you have sold it in the market. So that means production or procurement of goods and services to sell. Our next characteristics of a business activity, how you can identify an activity as a business activity, is sale or exchange of goods and services. It means whatever goods or services which you are producing or procuring, you are giving them for sale and not keeping it for self consumption. Means that, for example, there is a farmer. He works on his land, but he is consuming all the product he is growing on his land himself. He's not selling it in market. It means it is not a business activity. But there's another farmer who is producing wheat, and he is going to market and is selling it and earning profit out of that. So means he is carrying out a business of selling the wheat. So there's a difference between the things which are carried out for self consumption and the things which are carried out for earning profit. The activities which are carried out for earning profit will be considered as a business activity. Next, it deals in goods and services on regular basis. Means it is your principal work. Dealing transaction of goods and services, buying and selling of goods and services is your regular work. It is not that you are doing it occasionally, you are selling it. Suppose you have sold it, your bed, it was a second hand bed, you have sold it on OLX, and then it you are saying it is a business activity. No, it will not be considered as business activity, because you are not selling your beds regular basis. You have sold it one day, but you are not selling it another day also, so you are not continuing that work on further days also. So that will not be considered as your business activity. You need to do those activities on regular basis. Profit earning, the main motive of every business is profit earning. If you are not earning more profit and you are selling your goods for free, that will be considered as charity, that will not be considered as business activity. Next comes the uncertainty of return, the highest risk factor which is there in any economic activity is the business activity, and it is the whole the thing is that this is the biggest weakest point in conducting any business. Means there is a risk of uncertainty of return, though gains in business are quite high as compared to other three activities like profession and services or employment. The highest risk is in the business activity, but there is a saying that greater the risk, greater is the reward. In business activities, the rewards are also quite high. So there is uncertainty of return. Uncertainty of returns means you cannot be sure, you cannot be saying it surely that I will earn today 1000 rupees and tomorrow I will earn 2000 rupees, or you cannot predict your future earning. You cannot be sure. There is always an uncertainty of return, there is always a risk of return, getting return same returns in future also. There can be problems like changes in government policy or political pressures or change in fashion trends, which are unpredictable. Even biggest companies like Nokia, Samsung also fail sometimes, just because they cannot predict what can be the change in fashion or trends or in technology. So there is always an uncertainty of return in business. So I hope you have understood the characteristics of business activities. These are all the characteristics of business activities. So whenever you get any activity for recognition, whether it is a business activity or a profession or a employment, you will have to look for these characteristics first to consider it as a business activity. Again, taking up, human activities can be considered as to be categorized into economic activity and the non-economic activities. Business, profession and occupations are the part of economic activities because they are carried out for earning money. Non-economic activities are carried out of sympathy, love, psychological factor or charity. I can give an example of non-economic activity. For example, your mother is cooking food for you. She is doing household chores without charging any money from your side. So she's doing out of love, she's doing out of sympathy. She has a kind of psychological factor in her heart that that love is making her to do work. Otherwise, if you will keep a housemaid, or she will charge for all these activities, so that will be not considered as non-economic activity if a housemaid is charging money. But if your mother is cooking food for you and not charging anything, that will be considered as non-economic activity. Now I hope your non-economic activity is clear. That was enough explanation for that. Let's move to our economic activities. uh, Business, profession, and occupations or employment are the basic three economic activity in an economy. A very important question which are asked in the exams are that give the difference between business, profession, and occupation. You cannot simply define them and then differentiate them. You will have to take up various factors, and then you have to differentiate between these three activities. So let's start. Modes of establishment means the basic motive of establishment of these activities. Let's start. Let's compare them with each other. In business, the purchase and selling of goods is done, services is done to earn profit. In profession, professional services like services of doctor, teacher, etc. are sold. And in employment, it is your employer who decides what service you will give, and that will be paid by salary. So these are the modes of establishment of your economic activity in business, profession, and occupation and employment. Next factor to differentiate between them is that requirement of business, profession, and employment establishment. Business can be started any time based on the entrepreneur capabilities regarding funds, goods, etc. No need to be highly qualified for carrying out any business. Means business activities can be carried out any time if you have the risk taking capability, means you have sufficient funds. If you face a loss in future while carrying out your business activity, you have the capability of facing the loss also and recovering from it, and you have those tricks to carry out the business successfully, then you can carry out your business activity anytime. You need not to have any kind of qualifications for that. Next comes the profession. And as going back again to business, more and more you spend time in doing business, you get more experience. So experience in business comes with the time spent in that business. Profession, to start any profession, you will have to be highly qualified, and you will have to get a degree from any highly you will have to have any degree and also a certificate of practice with you. You cannot pursue any profession without any degree. And also the most important thing, some people get fake degrees for pursuing profession. That is also highly illegal. So you need to have a good degree of carrying out any profession. For example, you want to become a doctor, you need to have a degree of MBBS. You want to become a teacher, you need to qualify various TET exams, teacher eligibility exams for teacher eligibility tests for becoming a teacher, for example like BEd, JBT, etc. So you need to be personalized expert services need to be given. Means you will be, when your customers will be coming to you, you will be giving a personalized service to them. You will be checking them, you will be handling them personally, and you will be giving your expert services to them. Next, moving on to employment. In employment, as everything is decided by the employer himself, so there is no need of thinking that what work you will do. You need to be if you want to be any employment, the requirement will be decided by the employer himself. If he wants to hire you as a teacher, you need to if he wants to hire you as a teacher, he will say show your TET qualifications. He will also say if you have any work experience in earlier schools also. So it is depends on the employer himself, what the kind of requirement is requiring for hiring you as a employee in his organization. So this was the second factor to differentiate between a business profession and employment, that is the factor requirement for business profession and employment establishment. Our next factor for differentiating between the business profession and employment is the nature of work. The nature of work differ in these three kind of activities. In business, it is all in all the buying and selling of goods and services, purchasing, selling, and transaction of goods and services. In profession, it is the selling of personalized expert services done. And in employment, work will depend on the job, what kind of job you are doing. For example, you are doing a job of a carpenter in any organization, then the work will be different. And if you're doing the job of a teacher in a school or any academy, then the work will be different. So the nature of work will be different in these three kind of economic activity. So next, let's move on to our fourth factor for differentiating between business profession and employment is the qualification. Qualification factor, you need not to have any kind of degree for pursuing any business. You will gain experience as the time you pass in that business. Professional degree plus the practice certificate you must have for carrying out any profession. And employment, it depends on the work, your work will decide how much qualification you require for that employment. Next factor, that is the return and the reward. In business, the return is your profit, your reward is your profit. More the reward, more the profit, more will be successful will be your business. Next, in professional fees are paid. For example, you are visiting any doctor, you are paying the fees or to the doctor. Employment salary or wages are paid by the employer. So these are the returns which you receive in these three kind of activities. Next, coming on to our sixth factor to differentiate between the business profession and employment is that risk factor. It is a very important factor. The risk factor is highest in the business activity because there's always an uncertainty about the future returns. You cannot say that if you are earning 1,000 rupees today, you will be earning 2,000 or 1,000 rupees only, or 500 rupees in future also. You cannot predict your earning because there can be any change, like market changes, demand changes, changes in the political policies of the government. The government may start imposing more and more taxes, then your cost will increase. So these are the kind of risk which are always there in business. In profession, moderate risk are there, and in employment the risk is least because your job is there to deliver the service you are giving. It is not depending on the profit earned by the employer in the organization. So the risk factor is highest in business, moderate in profession, and least in employment. The last factor, that is the code of conduct. Code of conduct means ethics. There is no code of conduct so far for in business activities. Like basic business ethics are there for society, but you need not to have any kind of code of conduct, rules and regulations for starting your business. Means wearing uniform is a code of conduct which is null in business. For example, like a doctor, he is in profession, he has to wear the uniform. So that is the code of conduct of his service. And but in business there is not such kind of any conduct. I'm giving you an example only. There are various other code of conducts which are there in profession and employment, but such code of conducts are not there in business. So next comes the profession, the very strict code of conduct. For example, doctors, lawyers, etc. have to fulfill the code of conducts, different code of conducts. For example, as I said earlier also, they have to be very strictly abide by the uniform they have to wear, the way they have to talk to patients, or if he is a doctor, to the students. They cannot go beyond their code of conduct. So, employment code of conduct is decided by the employer totally. So carrying out the employment, you have to follow the code of conduct decided by the employer. Last, I'll explain this topic by giving you some example of business, profession and employment. Example of business are like, you are a baker, then you are operating in a bakery, and you are operating your own bakery also, and you are a property dealer, you are selling the properties. So these are the business, you are earning profit out of that, maybe your commission, or by selling the goods and services. Or next in profession, you examples are doctor, lawyer, etc. And employer, employees are the examples in working in any employer, under any employer and in any organization. That was the part 1 of our chapter 1. Next begins our part 2. Business activities is also classified into two parts: industry and commerce. Industry and commerce. So let's discuss them one by one. Our industry factor, let's take up with the industry. Primary, secondary and tertiary are the three parts of any industry. Primary, our industry where trade is going on. Primary is the first part of the industry, secondary is the second part of the industry, and tertiary industries are the third part of the industry. Primary industries can be further divided into two parts: extraction industry, genetic industry. You can learn it by the acronym that primary industries are easy: E for extraction industry, G for genetic industry. So extraction industries are doing the work like extracting the good extracting the goods and services for selling in market by using the natural resources. Like suppose you are growing crops in the field, you are selling them in the market. That will be your extraction. You are extracting it from the soil, you are extracting your product from the soil. And also you are in mines, etc., and you are extracting minerals. Then also you are extracting it from the as your natural resource, and you are selling them in the market. So those industries are considered as the extraction industry. Next comes the primary industry, is the genetic industry. Means it is included in the it is involved in doing the work of raising and breeding of plants and animals. For example, poultry, breeding of fish, etc. So I hope you are clear with the kinds of primary activities which are there in industry. And next comes our secondary activities, or secondary industries. Secondary industries uses the product produced by the primary industries. Primary industries, suppose primary industries have produced cotton for you. The secondary industry will utilize that cotton. It will convert that cotton into a newer product. So we can learn the secondary industry by the acronym CM path. Secondary industry is divided into two parts: construction and manufacturing. Construction and manufacturing. The construction industry is doing the work of building dams, bridges, buildings, etc. And manufacturing industry is doing the work of processing, assembling, analyzing, and synthetical work. Let's discuss the manufacturing industry in detail. You are taking the product of primary activity, you are processing it and converting into a new product in manufacturing industry. Processing. Let's go with the processing activity. Like you are growing sugar. In the primary industry, you have taken the product of the primary industry, that is the sugar cane, and you are processing it into sugar. You are cleaning it and then going through any chemical process to make a sugar product. So that is the processing part of the manufacturing industry. Next comes the manufacturing industry is the assembling industry. Assembling means you are taking different parts from different industries and you are assembling them. For example, computers, you are taking CPU from somewhere, you are taking the keyboard from other industry, and you are assembling. The work of assembling you are doing now so that industry will be considered as the assembling industry. Analytic industries are analyzing, means you are dividing one single product into different product and then making new products. For example, oil refinery, analyzing, separating. You are in oil refinery, you are separating the oil into different product. Petrol is converted into different products like petroleum, Vaseline, wax, etc. So these are considered as the analytical industry. Then comes the synthetical industry. Synthetical industry means you are not in paint or cement, the product are synthesized, their individuality does not matter here. Means if let's go back to the analytical industry, this assembling industry. In assembling industry, you were doing the work of assembling of the different parts of the computer, but their individuality also matter. If you are wanting to sell CPU only, that also have a good market. For example, here, but in synthetical activity or industry like paint, cement, whatever product they are made up of, that doesn't matter. The product matters. Paint is whole and soul used or taken by the customers for their work only, for their use only, not for the other uses. Cement, so the product are synthesized, their individuality does not matter here. What are they made up of? The only paint is required here, paint is demanded by the customer. अगर next type of industry is the tertiary activity or the tertiary industry. Tertiary industry is all in all involved in giving the support services like transport, banking, etc. Suppose if you want to install any factory, you will be needing funds. No business activity can be carried out without funds. Most of the activities are firstly based on loans only, and those loans are given by the banking sector. You want to transport your product, your finished product, one place to another, transport services will be provided. So tertiary industries provide you support services for carrying out your industry's business. Now let's discuss our commerce part. That was all in the industry part. I hope that is clear to you. Now let's move on to our commerce part. What all is included in the commerce part? Commerce, all activities being carried out to earn livelihood, money, etc. Commerce is divided into two parts: trade and auxiliary trade. Trade is further divided into internal trade and external trade. Internal trade means within country boundaries. It also divided into wholesale trade and retail trades. You are familiar with the wholesale and the retail word also. It means that in wholesale, the buyer is buying the same kind of product in bulk amount and then going to the different retailers to sell them. And the next, in retailers, retailer buys the different product from the wholesalers and then directly sell them to the customers. In external trade comes the export, import, and entry port. In entry port, that you are acting as middleman, means you are importing the goods from the other country, you are adding some your margin, you are adding some value to it, and again exporting it to the other country. In export, you produce the good in your country and then you selling it to other country. In import, you are buying the product of other countries. So this comes in these three activities comes in the external trade, and internal trade include the wholesale and the retail trade. Next, the last thing is the auxiliary trade. All those services which aid or help in carrying out any business activities and which removes the hindrances in carrying out the business smoothly, so are called as the auxiliary trade. You all know that whenever a business is set up, there are lots of hindrances of funds, hindrances of place, etc., knowledge, etc. So to carry out them smoothly, there are auxiliary trades which are there. We will discuss them one by one. Let's learn this acronym first. TBIWA. TBIWA. I would like to clear what is the meaning of hindrance. Means problems. What is the meaning of hindrance? Means problems. In carrying out any business, there are hindrances of place. Means you are producing the things in far off places and you want to sell them to another place which is also very far. I can give you an example. Suppose you are producing any good in Chennai and you want to sell it in Kashmir. There will be a hindrance or problem of place. Means you are doing the activity in far off places, or you want to sell them abroad in other countries also. So our transport services gives our auxiliary service, like it removes the hindrance of place. Transport can be airways, waterways, or land transport. It removes the hindrance of place. You need not to worry how your goods and services, manufactured goods and services, will be transported to the far off places. Next hindrance or problem is a problem of finance and funds. For setting any business, funds are required, and no nowadays banking facilities are there to give you loans. You can start your business anytime by just taking or raising loans from any banks. So that factor is also removed by the banking sector. Hindrance of risk. The risk factor is there is always a high content of risk in the business factor. So insurance is there. Insurance factors removes the hindrance of risk, the uncertainty of return. Or suppose there is a problem set by the, suppose in your factory is fire is set, or fire occurs, then that the things which have burnt, that will be compensated by the insurance